City of New York announced that they were going to put 1,000 single able-bodied male illegal aliens into a facility right next to Creedmoor, the psychiatric state facility that covers the neighborhoods of Fresh Meadows, Hollis Hills, Oakland Gardens, Glen Oaks, Belrose, Floral Park, and Queens Village. That's a vibrant community. A lot of Democrats, but a lot of Republicans. Quite a few of the people there elected me for mayor and not Eric Adams. There have been hints that they wanted to put up a tent for 1,000 in Creedmoor. Last week, the elected officials who were Democrats met, and they got bupkis, they got ugats, because the mayor once again decided, tough noogies, I'm in charge, and I'll do whatever the hell I want to do because there's a lot of money to be made from the illegals, all the ancillary kickbacks. We're going to get into that momentarily. So today at approximately half an hour, 1 o'clock, I will be jamming out of here to join the residents of those communities outside of the SNAP Center on Hillside Avenue to protest against the 1,000 single able-bodied male illegal aliens. They're going to be put there to live in a tent with nothing to do, nowhere to go. And you know that's a recipe for double trouble. That's Creedmoor, right? Now, you think, hey, maybe we put the emotionally disturbed persons in Creedmoor, 70% vacancy in the psychiatric facility. You think maybe we utilize the unused space inside of Creedmoor to care for the many emotionally disturbed persons. That ain't happening. Kathy Crime Wave Holcomb won't even address that issue. It's a state facility, but she's more than happy to house illegal aliens. And you know what's going to happen. For sale signs will go up in Queens Village, Floral Park, Glen Oaks, Belrose, the surrounding communities, because that'll be it. That'll be the straw that breaks their back. High taxes, poor quality of life, lowered expectations from the public schools. Another reason. And most of the homeowners, most of the folks who live out there are white ethnics and Asians. And so they are a growing force to be dealt with Asians. And now just as they're beginning to move in and buy up the houses and flex their political power, they're going to be driven out by Eric Adams, who said, well, they didn't vote for me, they voted for Sliwa, so oofa to them. That's at 1 o'clock. Then Lou, at 8 o'clock, another neighborhood in Queens, another neighborhood that did not vote for Eric Adams. They voted for me instead. This will take place tonight at 8 p.m. outside of the old St. Agnes High School, 1320 124th Street in College Point. It's closed, and they claim they were going to make a public high school out of it in 2026. All lies, all lies. And they bamboozled Vicky Palladino and other elected officials, told them it's not going to happen, and they said it will happen. Upwards of 600, anywhere from 300 to 600 illegal aliens, males, single able-bodied males will be housed there with nothing to do and nowhere to go. And that's going to be a recipe for double trouble. So please come out. I'm going to be at both demonstrations. You got to stay and fight for what you know is right. You can't allow Eric Adams to basically take out the bulldozer and force you all to sell or force you all to leave or to give up your rentals or your leasing and get the hell out of New York City and New York State. Now, that's exactly what's going to happen. And it's interesting because last night, it was a bipartisan event taking place right in Astoria, in Athens Park, which is at 30th Avenue and 31st Street. I remember it years ago as a bad park. It was they called 17 Park, right next to the public school, Public School 17. Then they invested a lot of money. It's a throwback to Athenian times. It's a gorgeous park. And it was to be a commemoration for Tony Bennett, who just recently died. He was the Astoria kid. First off, none of the elected socialist officials showed up, even though Tony Bennett's politics was so close to AOC, all-out crazy Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her mini-me's. I mean, you almost could have called Tony Bennett a socialist. None of them showed up, and yet they represent the area. I showed up to meet and greet people there starting at 7 o'clock. A lot of older people who grew up with Tony Bennett in the neighborhood. They had memories to share. I would say mostly Italian, Greeks, and Puerto Ricans. And I was there with our candidate, Kelly Klingman, who is running against Tiffany Caban, the socialist who has helped destroy Astoria. So things were really going well. And then all of a sudden, Lou, they had entertainment was provided by the NYPD Jazz Band, about 25 men and women, all cops, all strapped, all who had weapons. And I scratch my head and say, I never heard of them. They ought to be out on patrol with all the crime going on in the city, especially in Astoria of late. You even have guys going into the Walgreens with torches and torching out the objects from behind the glass encased closures. They should be out on patrol. And so, Lou, they were supposed to be playing tunes of Tony Bennett, right? It's the whole idea. You're commemorating Tony Bennett. They were playing tunes of Frank Sinatra, Rihanna. They were playing salsa, merengue, everything but Tony Bennett. So they took a break. And then I went over to the band leader and I said, hey, guy, this is a commemoration for Tony Bennett. The people here are expecting Tony Bennett songs. He goes, Curtis, we don't know any Tony Bennett songs. So what the hell were they doing there? I mean, nice gesture, but do we really need an NYPD jazz band? Don't you think they would be better served in the police department by putting aside their instruments and whatever jazz songs they have memorized and going out on patrol and patrolling? City is in desperate need of uniformed police officers on patrol. But that being what it was, they took a break. And at 8 o'clock, I headed out. The mayor was supposed to show up, and he eventually did show up at 8:30. And he walked in, and he had people there from Astoria, some who liked him, some who didn't like him. And then there was this Maria Lynch. She's in her 70s, senior citizen, originally from El Salvador, has been a community organizer in Astoria for quite some time, a power to be dealt with in Queens. Everybody respects Maria Lynch. She was there with her friends, all pretty much in the same age range, in their 70s. They had heard what was happening in Creedmoor with the announcement earlier in the day of Mayor Adams saying he was going to ship 1,000 single able-bodied illegal alien men to the Creedmoor facility. And I want you to listen to the audio, and some of it you could clearly hear. Some of it may be a little garbled. I'll explain to you the context of the discussion as Maria Lynch approached the mayor who was working the crowd.
Why are you treating illegal aliens better than you're treating Americans? Why are you treating illegal aliens better than you're treating Americans? Why are you destroying the city with illegal aliens?
Mr. Mayor, 4 more years.
Okay.
4 more years.
Okay. I'm asking you a question. Why are you destroying the city and providing for illegal aliens when the veterans are mentally ill on the street around the corner from here?
So what you have an accent?
Okay, I have an accent, but that's why I ask you. Nobody can call me a racist.
Right. You have an,
okay?
You have an accent?
Yes, I have an accent. And I'll tell you why I work here. I never ask for a dime from anybody.
Okay. They don't want to ask for a dime.
Okay. Yes, they do.
No,
You're giving them free medical care, free housing.
Listen, I'm just worried about
That's right. I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't want to talk to you. You don't want to talk.
Yes, I want to talk to you.
No, so you don't have to vote for
No, I want to talk. He didn't answer my question. He took over.
Then he disrespected her and walked away. For those of you who couldn't hear clearly, this is what was said. Maria Lynch approaches the mayor who's working the crowd in Athens Park, and she says, why are you treating illegals better than Americans? Why are you destroying this city with illegals? And then Eric Adams responded, you have an accent. And then Maria Lynch said, I live and work here. I never asked for a dime. And then Eric Adams responded to her, migrants don't want to ask for money. Don't want to ask for money. At the Milford Plaza, when they didn't like the food they were being served, which were bagels with the schmear and other foods, they protested, and the mayor folded on their demands and brought in beans and rice and pork chops to put on top. They call that con arroz habichuelas with chuletas. Some of them wanted mango, mofongo, those Puerto Rican dishes and Dominican dishes, and whatever they want, they get. So don't tell me, Mr. Mayor, that they don't want to ask for money. You have no vetting process. You are putting single able-bodied males into communities where there's nothing to do, nowhere for them to go other than to get into double trouble. And you see the headlines that are happening in other parts of Manhattan, which is bulging with these illegal aliens. You saw what happened at 110th Street. They were rampaging through the streets on their mopeds, attacking African-American citizens there. That happened Sunday morning. I did the video of the black woman, the African-American woman, sleeping on a bench, park bench, at the northern lip of Central Park, just 2 blocks away. A lot of African-Americans complaining, look, we're sleeping out in the streets. We're homeless. Some of us veterans, we're sleeping on park benches. Why do you provide these illegal aliens with everything they want? Housing, health care, just like Maria Lynch was saying. And he flipped her off. And the other headlines, a large crowd of illegals are being let into the Roosevelt Hotel after laying out on the streets for hours. It's exactly what Bo Dietl was talking about to Sid Rosenberg earlier when he passed by the Roosevelt Hotel. Here's another headline. Fed up New York City businesses sound off as migrant crisis causes chaos in the street. Hit shops' wallets. Enough is enough. That's all throughout Midtown. They're a menace, and there's no security, and there's no additional cops. I mean, you say to yourself, what the hell are you doing to our city? And supposedly, Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan, is going to be meeting with Hakeem Jeffries, who they say soon will be the Speaker of the House when the Democrats are in the majority. They're meeting with the head of Homeland Security, Mayorkas. Eric Adams is claiming he needs more money, and then all of a sudden he's also going to Houston. Now, what the hell is he going to Houston for? He needs to keep his ass here in this city. He's not doing the job. All he's doing is destroying more and more neighborhoods by basically saying, tough noogies, you don't have a say. That's why if you happen to be in these neighborhoods that I mentioned, man, you got to get out there. You got to demonstrate. I know they're announcing this when they know there's going to be 100-degree heat. They know that it's going to prevent people from coming out and demonstrating. But I'm getting out there as soon as this program is over. Come on, join me right there on the grounds of Creedmoor on Hillside Avenue outside the Snap Center. At 1 p.m., the demonstration and rally starts. They're going to be putting 1,000 single able-bodied male illegals there under a tent. A neighborhood is not going to be able to deal with that in Queens Village, Floral Park, Glen Oaks, Belridge, Fresh Meadows. You'll be selling your homes as a result. And then tonight at 8 o'clock in College Point, St. Agnes High School. Many of you probably went to St. Agnes High School, or the female members of your family went there. It's now closed. The city said it was going to open up a public high school in 2026. Yeah, Makwana Mai. That's at 13-124th Street. The demonstration and rally will be led by Councilwoman Vicky Palladino, who represents that area. She's opposed to this, as I am. They're going to drop upwards of 600 single illegal alien, able-bodied males into that facility. There's nothing to do out there. What are they going to do all day? And you know who's supporting the effort? AOC, all-out crazy Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the socialist that she's in charge of, and her newfound friend who wants to unseat Vicky Palladino as the city councilwoman out there, Tony Avella. Yeah, they now have signs that say, socialist for Tony Avella. Hey, Tony, you supporting this destruction of the neighborhood? Maybe you'll come to the rally tonight. I'll be there. Will you?